Hello and welcome to the Visergy Digital Marketing Email Marketing Webinar. My name is Amanda Avery and I'm part of the product development team. I also have with me Crystal Griffin, also part of our product development team. And today we're going to be going over email marketing and best practices for your business. We really want to focus today on making sure that you're using email marketing in the best ways in order to increase revenue, increase bookings, and increase the engagement with your customers. We're going to start off talking about improving deliverability, making sure that when you're sending messages, your messages are being received by your customers and being opened. Targeting your email campaigns, making sure that you're taking your group and your data and you're segmenting those lists based on information you've gathered from your customers, from their interests to their zip code. Automating email campaigns, making sure that when you're sending email messages that you can create easy to use steps so that you take a lot of work out of the process and messages are automatically sent based on behaviors or opens or clicks. Using dynamic content that you've gathered from your customers and just taking the information you've gathered and sending out messages specific to your customers based on information that you've collected from them. And using A/B testing, a really great tool to take message A and message B and let your customers decide which one is the better email. And finally, going through our reporting tool to talk about what works and what doesn't work, what's an effective email strategy and what's not an effective email strategy. We're going to first start off by talking about improving your deliverability and your open rate. We have our clients, what we talk with them about when they're initially starting to do email marketing is creating a list cleansing and making sure that their email lists have the most up-to-date data and that whether they have their email information from their PMS or they're using a third party to gather those email addresses from, that we're sending those emails and they're actually being received by our customers and making sure that they're opting into those emails so that when we are sending, we want our deliverability to be as high as 100% based on the email messages actually getting into the inbox and not being marked as spam, so that when you're sending, you have a really strong sender reputation. We use spam check to make sure that when you're composing your emails, you have the proper image to text ratio, that URLs and any information within your message might not be detected as spam. And we have tools to analyze that to make sure if something is iffy, we can kind of adjust that and take that out. And then really importantly is designing for mobile. We want to make sure that when customers are receiving their email, which is 67% open email on their mobile device before they open it on a desktop, that they're on the go and when they get that message, they open it and it's content that they can see that's engaging and it's something that they can navigate easily and it looks good on their phone. We also are going to do some targeting through email marketing, and that starts with segmenting your list. So really, really great tools that you can use to gather information are social sign-ins. You can use Facebook or Google Plus to have your customers sign in. And what really that does for you is creates a really, really great tool to gather personal information and details, really granular details about your customers. And for your customers, it just creates ease of use. One click and they're signed in and they don't have to remember a new password. But for you, it means getting information about, did they go to college? What kind of business do they work in? How old are they? What part of the country do they live in? So really, really granular details that go along with having a social sign-in. PMS syncing that just brings in all the information, all the data that you've collected through your PMS and puts it into the system. So great information about your customers, their email addresses, how much they spent the last visit, etc. Longer forms, also really great. Sometimes can be more difficult to get people to engage with because the more information, the harder it is to get your customers to fill that out. One way we do have a workaround is using our progressive web forms. We can send out promotions and offers to really engage your customers. And the more, the more benefit it is for them, the better the prize, the more information that they're willing to give up. We also have just a quick example of one of our progressive web forms. So if you update your preferences, and we'll send you special offers and news, and this will let them choose specific things that they're really interested in. So if they're interested in wedding, you can send them specific offers based on wedding packages or romantic giveaways, family vacations. And that brings us to our dynamic content. This is how we use that information to decide what should I send this customer. It allows us to edit our subject lines based on content that we've received, the information we've received. Images within the emails, you can edit those, as well as headers and text and just special offers specific to those people. Sending your older customers a picture of an older couple, and your younger guests pictures of younger guests. Also, just some different images you could send based on family or business or romantic getaways. So really catering that in one email. So you can send out your list based on your preferences. You've said this, so you're automatically going to receive this image. It makes it really nice, really easy. And instead of sending 4 different emails, you're sending one email, but the content will change dependent on the preferences that your customer chooses.
They can really envision themselves at your hotel, taking part in your offer. The business person doesn't want to see the kids at the pool, and the kids at the pool don't want to see the romantic vacation go away. So you're going to be able to really target your message and have them see themselves enjoying your property.
Next, we'll talk about my favorite part of email marketing, and that's automation. This just makes everyone's life so easy when you can set up an email campaign and you're done. You've done your job, and you can just watch the bookings kind of happen. One of our big recommendations is sending second sends. We see a 40% higher open rate with a second send, and what that is you send out an email, for instance, a welcome email, and that can be an automated message as well. So they signed up for your newsletter, they received their welcome email, and did they open that email? Yes, they did. Okay, well, now I'm going to send them this special promotion. Did they not open that email? No, well, I'm going to wait 6 days, and now I'm going to send them another welcome email with a new subject line and see if that's going to make them interact with me a little differently.
Yeah.
You can do that with RFPs. If someone goes to your website, fills out an RFP, or maybe starts to fill out an RFP, then that can also trigger a message. Behavior and event triggers. There's all of this. It can tie into your website. It can tie into functionality of other emails. If you have a special offer and they click on a link, you can set up a targeted campaign to automatically send them an email based on a behavior within an email. Very, very easy to set up, and just set it and then forget it, and then you have things kind of just flowing through. Really great tool to really, really make it easy.
Yeah, I mean, taking the second sends is something. Before we started using that process, we might have to go through sending a couple of emails to get the same engagement rate now, where we can craft one email message, spend 2 to 3 minutes setting up the automation for the second send, and get just as much engagement off of one email offer. So it makes everyone's life easier.
Yeah. A/B testing, a great tool to just say, customers, you tell me what's better. I know that some people have, creative differences. I like this picture better. No, this picture is better. Well, we can settle that with an A/B test. Same thing with subject lines. If you're trying to test out a couple different subjects and maybe you want to see, is a question going to be more compelling or a % off offer? Or if you just want to try two completely different promotions, you can do that as well. It just really lets your customers say, this is the right one. We tested 10% of the database, and now everyone else is going to get the one that was the winner. Right. Pretty simple, easy to use, and very effective.
Yeah, anybody who's done email marketing knows just trying to craft the right subject line to entice somebody to open up your email can be pretty difficult sometimes. So having to take the load off of you a little bit and say, you know what, I could do this or I could do this. Which one does better? Great. In this case, we did 2 different subject lines and one performed twice as well as the other. So it was an easy decision to say, great, I picked the right subject line. Let me go ahead and send it out. Same thing with promotional offers. It can be really difficult sometimes to know, is this promotional offer going to appeal to my customers or should I offer something different? Maybe you don't even have to offer a discount to your customers. You can send out a trial with a discount for a room, or you can send out one that says, come stay this weekend and get a gift certificate to the restaurant, or whatever the case may be. You can try different things and send it out to a small percentage of your database, see what works better, and then push it out.
And finally is the reporting tools, really robust reporting tools to see how many emails were sent, how many people were opened, and how many unique clicks did you have with those emails, getting percentages from that of open rates, seeing how many people were delivered to your booking engine, and of those, which ones booked. So really showing an actual return on your investment, which is so important. We also have heat maps to say, this was how much, somebody clicked on this link, and really get an idea of which part of your email is the most effective. We call these nice little heat maps to give an idea of what's the most effective part of your email marketing content and drive that message home so that you can repeat the best stuff.
Yep.
All right. So that is the end of the email marketing presentation. We have a little bit of time left for some questions.
Okay. Are there any questions?
So let's pull up our questionnaire. We have our first question is, how do we get the second send email process set up at the property? And it's a pretty easy automation tool. If you are currently a customer, we can actually go in and set the automation up pretty easily. Once you have created the email, it's as easy as going in, adding the email to the automation tool, and then setting up a rule to send that email 6 days if they haven't opened it after 6 days.
And we can change that if you want to do it faster. If it's a short-term offer, something with a last-minute booking offer, we can change that timeline. But really, it's just a matter of a couple of extra minutes when we're setting up the initial email campaign for you in the system that we have. Which is the next question. Which email system are you using? So Visergy uses, I think, are you pulling up?
Yep.
For them, we use Silverpop, and we've integrated that into our client services login for all of our Visergy clients. So instead of having to go to another platform or log in, you just log into the client login, click on email marketing, and it'll have a single sign-on that takes you directly into the platform.
Right. So what I have here is our customer login, which hopefully a lot of you are familiar with. And we're going to go into the email marketing tab up at the top right. And that will take us directly inside the email marketing tool. And we'll just run through a quick setup for a automation. So we will select a automation program, and we'll create a new automation. We can name it second send. And then we select our contact source, which is the database that you're using. And then we save it. And this is where we edit our emails.
So in this case, we usually will go back and forth with you, make sure that we've crafted the right message, get the email set up, and then it's just a matter of adding that second send automation to the email campaign. You select your mailing.
Give me just one.
Oh. So while Amanda's working on that one, let's see what other questions we had. Can you provide more examples of what might get you flagged as spam? Yes. So spam check, again, I think Amanda referenced it, but it's really important to know the URLs that you are putting into your emails. If you're working with a third party or directing your clients to maybe an event in your area or a news source, you could potentially run into an issue if the site you're directing them to has malware, has been flagged somewhere along the way. And you'd be surprised some of the reputable sites that we see that have gotten flagged somewhere along the way that end up showing up when we go through the spam check process. That's definitely something you want to be careful of. Let's see, what were the other items? Again, if you don't have enough text, you have too many images, that can come across as spam. Do you want to jump into the?
Yeah. So we have our automation tool pulled up now. And so we'll create a second send for a thank you or a welcome. Thank you for joining. So the first step is once we get into our tool, so you just go to automation and you create a new automation and you have to add your email. So you click on the add button and you select your email. And once that email is in your resource steps, you can add it. We'll configure the email and we can rename it. If we want to change the subject line to, because this is the second send, we can change it up a little bit. Save that information, configure your mailing. These are just basic steps to go through to make sure that the email will be sent. And you apply those changes, and now we can add our decision point. Just click it and drag it on top of the email, and we'll change our weight from 0 to 6. And then we'll configure our decision point. And this is where we tell the system, hey, they didn't open my email, wait 6 days, and now send them this email again. So we go through and we...
I see a question out there I want to address, just why would you wait 6 days? That's a great question. So when we looked at our reporting earlier, you noticed there were kind of peaks in that. We see that sometimes an email might not be, and we see a big jump, obviously, when you first see the email of people engaging, and then typically there will be a few different other peaks that happen over the next few days. And that's people opening it for the first time and then maybe going back and opening it again, or it could be people that only check their email every few days. It really just varies. That's why we try to build a little bit of a buffer before we start sending the email again. We don't want to do it right away. We like to give a week or so, but again, it depends on which offer you're doing.
Yeah. Giving yourself a little space, trying a different day, not doing it exactly 7 days away. Different day, different times, all these things will help with that deliverability. So we're going to set up our rule to send this email. So we have our yes path, which is where that's going to trigger the email. And we'll click on these rules. And this is where we're going to build that behavior profile. We have behavior, email behavior, has not opened email. And then we choose the email. So they have not opened the thanks for joining 2015 email, and we save that and apply those changes. And we activate. Once it's active, that email, as soon as they meet the criteria, they'll automatically receive the second send. And you can set this up for multiple emails. You can copy and edit the email. So once you have this set up once, you really don't have to do it again. You just add your new email that you want to add to it, and you replace the original email.
And if you notice how that was just setting up a second send, when we went into the criteria as far as what would trigger, what the decision points were, there's how they engage with the email, there's behavior, there's how they engage with the website, any number of things that you can use as your decision point for when you would want to send another email. And there's also the capability to target just not doing another email. It may be taking it, for instance, RFP, you could have the initial decision point where you send them the welcome email. Did they open your welcome email within one day? No, get the make sure the salesperson's reaching out to them. Did they open the email right away? So within the next couple of hours, send them another email. You could target however you want and whatever timelines you want. And you could also target tasks to go out to an internal email contact. So it's having the sales team automatically get receipt of the RFP, make sure they follow up, make sure that they know that the customer opened and provided some additional information, and that'll go straight to them. So a lot of different things that you can do.
Yep, and we had a question from one of our customers currently on the call. Are they able to do this themselves? And the answer is absolutely. You have full access to all these tools, and you're able to go in and set them up yourself. If you have any questions or need any assistance, we are always available to walk you through that process and happy to do so.
Okay, so another question, combining social and email. What are some ways that we can use email and social together? I think we started off with the social sign-in. So that's a great way to get more information about your customers, get all of those criteria for logging by just having them provide you a social sign-in instead of an email address, because they already have so much information provided as part of their social profiles. It's an email address that they're checking regularly, so we don't end up with those zombie email addresses that we talked about where no one's ever checking the inbox. They may have simple things that you don't get with an email address, like gender, usually some age criteria in there. Are they married, unmarried? You might even get some additional dates on things, tons of different things. Information that you wouldn't get if you just did an email address. And for most people, it's easier to click that sign in with social than to type in an email address. Another element of incorporating social and email, you want to make sure that your email template has your social profiles built into it so they can click on and go to your social profiles. But something more beneficial that we've seen is making sure you're using share to social functionality so that a customer can easily share whatever you've sent them an email. So the time you've taken to craft that promotion or craft that content, and that you've already run through an A/B test to know that it's successful with your customers, pushing it out to social yourself when you craft that email so that it goes out in email and it goes out in social. But then also having some share to social functionality. What that does that's unique is we can pre-format and make sure that it's structured to come across as a nice post when they share it on their own social feeds. So the image that's going to show up, the content that's going to show there, what that little summary text is going to be when they share the link is already pre-formatted to show in the right context of how you want it to show. And it encourages them to go ahead and take that step instead of, maybe they forward it to a friend, maybe they don't, but if they could just quickly share it on their social, you get more word of mouth and you get additional visibility into something that you've already put effort into crafting. Is there anything else? So what other advice would you give for overall email success? Great question. So one of the things that we see that makes our customers more successful when they start engaging in email is planning. Having a content calendar mapped out that they can reference to know hey, June's coming up. I know I want to send an email promo. Let me check my content calendar. Oh, I've got a festival coming up in July that should generate some additional bookings. Last year, I did that great 4th of July rooftop pool party. Let me send that out again. Whatever it is that has worked for you in the past or that you know can be a demand generator for you, sitting down and spending the time on that up front instead of trying to do it on the fly when you're more pushed for time can make you a lot more successful. And then also going through planning to do problems and solutions so that you already have the solution, you've already thought of the stuff before you hit the problem. That shortfalls in your forecast. So you're coming up, you look at the next 30 days, you had a large group cancel. What are you going to do to fill those extra rooms? Knowing whether or not it's a middle of the week shortfall or if it's a weekend shortfall. So having a weeknight stay promotion that can easily be pushed out at the last minute or having a weekend promotion that's ready to go out. When we take the time to actually plan those out ahead of time, process goes so much smoother for our customers. They don't get as pigeonholed with what should I do, a little bit of distraction there and trying to come up with something at the last minute. Spending that time up front ends up saving you time in the end and just means you're more well prepared, so there's not as much pressure on you.
All right, let's see. Do we have any other questions?
We support a campaign for a monthly newsletter. Yes, actually, and we see a lot of clients doing that. We build out nice responsive templates for them in a format that, again, is going to be designed for mobile, so it's clean, scalable, and then turn it over to them to put in information that they do on a monthly basis to their customers. We do that for quite a few customers. And then we have other customers who kind of provide us more of that content plan, or we work with them to develop a content plan, and we'll just put the newsletter together, send it over to them. They'll say, yes, this looks like what I need, and we'll send it, or they'll say, no, make sure we add this in, and we just handle all of that on our end.
Newsletters are a really good way to engage with your customers. We do have some people that don't see the need for a monthly newsletter. We also have people that are more of a quarterly type of communication level, just because it's a different sort of destination where they're probably not going to be coming on a super regular basis, but keeping that communication to about every 3 months really does keep them in touch and keep them at top of mind when they are considering travel.
Yeah. And that's something that we help evaluate when we're going through the process. What makes the most sense based on your audience?
The next question is, are there email design templates, or do we design our own email content template? We do provide an option to choose from a pool of templates that you have access to, and then or you can create your own. So it depends on your ability in terms of building those templates, but we do recommend that whether you're using ours or you're doing it on your own, that they are responsive templates, so that whether a consumer is opening them on their desktop or their mobile device, that they're getting the same content and there is just some continuity between devices.
Yeah. Same thing with the template matching your brand and your website. You really want them to have the same experience. It may have been a while since they visited your property or visited your web page, but you want to have the same look and feel consistently across all of those, so that when they open that email, they're automatically thinking of you. Your brand is present in their mind. You're easily recognizable, and it gives them the same experience when they click into your website, just making everything flow and work together. Okay.
Another question you might have is, what sort of spam tools do we use? Everything is within the email when you're sending it. So it actually shows you, as you're sending the email, a preview, and it lets you know, is this email going to be, possibly flagged as spam? Because you can't control everything, of course, but the things that we can control and measure, we just have a tool checklist. And as long as you get a certain score, your email should be good to go.
And the same thing with previewing the emails. The platform actually has email preview functionality built into it. So it's powered by Litmus. But what that does is just give you an easy way to check, does this look good across devices and across email providers? You're not having to send out a bunch of trials, asking, your coworkers and her spouse to check their email and see how your email looks, or setting up a bunch of accounts to test it yourself. And we also have the ability to do really quick link tracking in this system. I know I've seen in some other scenarios where you have to kind of go through the email one by one and click on the links. This will take you straight to a list of all your links and allow you to easily click through those and just make sure they're working, as well as make sure that you have the link tracking built into those so that the links not only take people where they need to go, but that they're tracked and tying in with your analytics. So when we look at that reporting, we're not just seeing, hey, who opened my email, but we're really getting the power of who clicked on the link, what follow-up actions were taken after the link, were they delivered to my booking engine, and then if it's tied into the reporting enough, did they go from the booking engine into a reservation? So you can not only see how successful your email was, but also tie back to that picture of ROI and is the time and money that we're spending on email profiting for us.
Yeah. And I don't believe that we have any additional questions.
Give everybody part of their day back.
Yeah. So we're finishing up a little bit ahead of schedule, which is wonderful. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your Thursday and a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. All that. And any other additional questions, please feel free to send us a direct message, and we will we'll respond to those directly.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day. Bye.